Oh, yeah!
Hey, welcome to another episode of Spare from the Past. Today we're talking about a very short-lived pay-per-view which only happened once. Breaking Point from 2009. This is in the year where they were throwing shit at the wall and seeing what stuck and what didn't. But we've got Jacob here. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for working around my schedule. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk about this pay per view. And an interesting one-off.
Yeah. But as I like to start these off, I'm going to do the On This Day segment. On this day, on September the 13th, 2009, which is when the pay-per-view happened, the number one movie. Now, I couldn't find the worldwide number one movie, so I have got to go off the US one, which was a Tyler Perry movie called I Can Do Bad All By Myself, which I've never heard of before this.
Really? That was number one. Oh, man. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's in September. It's that weird time where there's not a lot of blockbuster stuff happening. But the number one song in America was "I Got a Feeling" by Black Eyed Peas, and the number one album was "Breakthrough" by Colby Calais.
That tracks.
But moving on to the pay-per-view itself, and this is one of those ones where the gimmick was submission matches, and there barely was any submission matches. But we'll get into more of that when we go through this. The first match we started off with was Jerry Show, which was Big Show and Chris Jericho defeating the World's Strongest Tag Team, which was Mark Henry and MVP for the Tag Team Championships. Well, what it was, I thought this match was a lot of fun. Weirdly enough, I've kind of really liked Mark Henry and MVP as appearing. I thought it was an interesting one to go with. But I think for the most part it worked. The match itself was fine. Like there's many good spots, and yeah, Jericho was sort of big at this time, so like them getting the win wasn't too surprising. But Jake, what are your thoughts about this tag team match?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun opener. I like Jericho as a tag team. I kind of wish they kind of went on a longer run because I know I think Jericho would move on, and then Show would end up tagging with the Miz. We get Show Miz. There's a fly in here. Sorry, I caught it. But yeah, I also like Mark Henry and MVP as a pairing. The match was fun. Had some really nice spots. I love the finish. Although I don't know if Chris Jericho is moving the dead weight of Mark Henry that easily if he's really knocked out. But no, I thought it was good. Yeah, I like them as a tag team. It was a nice way to open the show. I don't get Mark Henry, or not Mark Henry, but MVP like complaining to the ref about the Big Show punching. Like, you guys all get in the ring when you're not supposed to. Use double team moves all the time. Stop your complaining. It's not going to change the match. Stop it.
But then next day we had a quick backstage segment of Legacy, which was standard interview stuff, which ended up with them saying like we're going to make them reach their breaking point or something like that. That they definitely name dropped the pay-per-view many times throughout. It was like trying to remind people what we were watching. But nothing much to note on this backstage interview. Next up, we had Kofi Kingston defeating The Miz for the United States Championship. And as well, those ones I had to look up, find out where this pay-per-view happens. I completely forgot this one was in Canada. And
Montreal.
So you got Miz, so you got Miz coming out doing his intro in French. But look, I would go on a limb and say I think this is probably one of the best matches on this card. I think it was pretty good, and yeah, I can't remember if this was the start of Kofi and Miz's rivalry or if it was just like in the middle somewhere. But I think I really enjoyed the rivalry for the most part throughout this fight for the US title. I definitely remember seeing some bits and pieces from it from when they're on NXT together and that as well. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about Kofi versus The Miz?
Yeah, I thought this was really solid. Yeah, I think this. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember too if this was the beginning or the middle. I know they would have a match at. I think Hell in a Cell was the next pay per view with Jack Swagger involved. Um, but no, man, I really dug this. I think there were several near falls where it looked like it could go either way. And honestly, I forgot who I didn't look at the results before. I knew the results of some of these matches, and this was one that I didn't remember. So like I was like going into it with fresh eyes, like I hadn't seen it before. But no, I mean Kofi knows how to work. It's a shame that he can't get up quite that high anymore. But man, he was a freak of an athlete 15 years ago, and you know the Miz was such a great heel, and I think the dynamic worked really well. So, no, really solid match.
Yeah, and then next up we had Legacy, which was Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase defeating DX, which was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Seeing a match featuring Triple H and Shawn Michaels this high on the card was surprising to me, but in the submission count anyway match, and look, this is one of those ones where I'm surprised this specific match type didn't get more use when they created it, because I thought the like stipulation was a lot was interesting and a different sort of take on Falls Count Anywhere. And the once again, once again, I would probably put this in like the one of the top matches of the night. Like this is just one of those ones where it's a lot of fun. Where you had no idea like who was going to tap, and especially some of the creative like submissions that they did, like especially when they took it outside of the ring and that. But Jacob, what is your thoughts about this?
I really enjoyed this. This might be my favorite match of the night. I think they worked the stipulation really well. They went all over the arena. I think each team was able to get some double team moves in quickly, and I think too, like you could like DX is the seasoned tag team. They're the veterans, you know. I think it would have been really easy to count Legacy out, and at times it seemed like DX was dominating, but they were able to turn it around. And I think they worked that stipulation extremely well. And it's not often that you see someone taken out not to make a hero's return in the end. I mean, it was nice to see that kind of change where Triple H, he was just too late. Like he didn't make it back in time. You know, Shawn did what he could to try to fight off the double team, but he ended up, you know, that's not going to make him. He's tapped out before, but you know, tap into 2 submission moves, especially when one's on the ring. Even though the figure 4 did kind of look a little weird, but you know, when you're not doing it on the mat, it's not going to look as good. But no, I mean, I think this was fantastic. I looked it up on Cage Match later. Kind of wanted to see what other people thought of it, and I think it's like a 7.6 or something out of 10, which I think is fair. But you know, good old Dave Meltzer is like 2.5, and I'm like, you're high. This is much better than 2.5.
Yeah. But then next up, we had a backstage interview with Randy Orton, who was asked how he felt about Legacy winning their match. And he was like, I knew they were going to win. Like, basically, sort of proud father type stuff. It's like, right. I knew they were going to win. It's like, and then just didn't really answer much about his own match that was coming up. Then next up, we had Kane defeating the Great Khali in a Singapore Kane match. Which, look, it is what it is. Like, 2 big guys hitting each other with sticks. I kind of wish they did more with the Singapore Canes and stuff, but they didn't really do a lot with them. Ultimately, it was just fine. Like, there's really nothing much about this match that was really that exciting. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about this match?
Pass. Skip. If you're going to rewatch the show, you can fast forward right through this, and you're not going to miss a thing. And that sucks to say about a Kane match, because I think Kane can be a pretty good in-ring worker, but unfortunately Khali was just like, he had no moveset. You know, he was just there because, you know, Vince loved the size, and that's all it was. So yeah, no, the first dud of the night, unfortunately.
So I can't wait to beat up Great Khali with Shaq in the next once the next 2K25 DLC drops. Now beating him up with Jalen Brunson, who was just announced as being the third NBA Suns joining that.
Really? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, and Shaq, which are being dropped in a pack with Great Khali and Abyss. It's like
Those two seem like odd inclusions.
yeah. I mean, they're calling it the Duncan Destruction Pack, but I was like, yeah.
Okay, maybe that's fair.
I mean, it's. I mean, I'm still waiting for them to drop the celebrity guest we were supposed to have gotten with the last DLC, which hasn't happened yet. But anyway, enough of my rants about 2K25 and DLC drops. Because they haven't even announced who that special guest is. I'm expecting it to be Travis Scott, but it's like
They're waiting for that. They're waiting for the heat to die down. They're like, right now we'll release Travis Scott.
Oh yeah. But next up, we had an interview with CM Punk talking about his match against Undertaker, who just like says he's not afraid and all that usual stuff most people say about the Undertaker. Then Jimmy Wang Yang turns out the lights, and then CM Punk just goes to beat him up. It's like I completely forgot Jimmy Wang Yang was actually a thing. But then next up, we had Christian defeating William Regal for the ECW Championship. Which once again, I like Christian as a wrestler, but for whatever reason, this match didn't do it for me. Like it was fine. Like they put in a lot of the usual stuff, like William Regal and stuff doing the usual kind of things. But it's like the match itself was not as good as it could have been. But yeah, Jacob, what are your thoughts about Christian versus William Regal?
Yeah, I can see your point. I think for me personally, I think this was more of a showcase for William Regal because I think he got a lot of offense in and a lot of moves in, and he didn't need Kozlov and Ezekiel Jackson out there. So I like that we got to see the more ruthless and aggressive side of William Regal because I think he's someone I think he could have easily been a world champion in this era. His King of the Ring heel general manager run. I could have easily seen him. He doesn't need a lengthy reign. We just saw Jey Uso with a 50-day reign. You could have given William Regal something like that. I think he's earned it. I think he was over with the crowd enough. I think he was a great heel. So it's unfortunate that he didn't get the win here. I remember, thinking back to when I was watching at this time, like I was, because Christian wouldn't drop it until the last episode of ECW in February of the next year. So, you could have given Regal a nice 2-month run, let Christian win it back or something. But yeah, I liked it. But I think these two could have put on a better match given, the talent that the two of them have.
Yeah. But then next up we had Pat Patterson comes out because it's his hometown and obviously he's going to come out and do something. I don't know if he was going to introduce something or announce something, but whatever it was, it never happened because Dolph Ziggler interrupted him as he came out and talked shit to him. And honestly, I thought the segment went way too long before we got to the beatdown and then the save by John Morrison. And I was kind of hoping this was going to be like Pat Patterson says, well, you two want to fight. It's going to be a title match. And it's going to happen right now. But nothing happened from this. It was kind of a race of a time being here, honestly. But Jake, what are your thoughts about this Pat Patterson segment?
Yeah, this was so bad. I mean, the Pat Patterson stuff, that would have been just fine. If you just left it at that, because it's his hometown, fine, cool. I know this was early on in Dolph Ziggler's career. Thank God he got better on the microphone because yeah, some of that was hard, like silly little playground insults. It seemed, and yeah, way too long. One kick to the stomach. I mean, sure, he's old, but one kick to the stomach, and then Morrison's coming out, and yeah, this would lead to a pretty good match at Hell in a Cell. But there's better ways to set up a match than a drawn out segment on pay per view.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like this is something they could have just done on Raw easily. But then next up we had John Cena versus Randy Orton in an I Quit match for the WWE Championship. Look, I don't mind the I Quit stipulation sometimes, but this one was really annoying, especially just hearing the ref going, insert wrestler here, do you want to quit? It's like so much during that match. It's like it gets really annoying over time. It's like and the match I enjoyed it for what it was. Like them using the handcuffs so many times, like it got a bit repetitive, but it was also one of those ones like it showed how much Randy Orton wanted to try and defeat John Cena. And then but I thought the match was good for the most part, and it made sense for why Randy Orton was one of the stops that he did on John his farewell tour too. This was probably one of the most memorable feuds that like John Cena had done. But Jake, what are your thoughts about John Cena versus Randy Orton in the I Quit match?
I liked the action. I don't think any and even in 2009, and sure, Randy's going on a great heel run here, and he's one of the best heels. You put John Cena in an I Quit match, you're pretty much spoiling the result because he's not gonna quit.
Yeah.
Unless there's shenanigans, kind of like the Rock and Mankind from the Royal Rumble in '99, where it's a recording, then the result's just never in question. I'm pretty sure John Cena's never lost an I Quit match. It would be nice to see him lose one now, kind of in this heel run. I think that would be interesting and cool. But no, I mean, I think these two always work well together. I did like the handcuffs. I like that it just wasn't, all right, I'm going to handcuff you to the ropes and I'm going to beat you up for a little bit and then you're going to escape and that's going to be it. I did like that they switched it up and like, all right, you're on the rope and then I'm going to hang you from the post and then, I'm going to hang you from the turnbuckle and then, the finish with the handcuffs. I think it all worked really well together. I would have liked to see, Randy maybe struggle a little bit more. I think he quit a little too soon. But he's also a heel, so that's fine. But no, really, really solid match. I think, yeah, even though we may have seen this match 83 times, I think given the stipulation here, I think freshens it up a little bit. They're able to do that.
Yeah, 83 times it feels like that's how many times I've seen Jey Uso versus Gunther as well at this point.
One more.
But the next up we had CM Punk defeating The Undertaker in a submission match for the WWE Championship. Look, I thought for the most part the match was pretty good. And yeah, like it's one of those ones where but I didn't mind. I didn't mind the finish too much because I vaguely remember watching the lead up to this where Teddy Long sort of said that Hell's Gate is banned. So I figured, oh yeah. So when I saw him putting on the Hell's Gate, it's like, oh yeah, someone's going to come out going, it's banned. This match is going to have to restart, which is fine. I thought doing the whole screw job finish was stupid. Like they could have had like if they're going to have CM Punk win, they could have had him win clean and actually had Taker tap out. But I think doing the whole screw job thing and although funny thing at the end though is like Teddy Long obviously walked backstage when he restarted. Then he randomly sort of walks back out, like when CM Punk is celebrating, it just seems to have a stare down for the Undertaker. It's like there's no point of need for him to come back out unless Undertaker was going to attack him. But yeah, I think this was a match that was good. That it finished just kind of soured it for me a little bit. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about CM Punk versus Undertaker?
Yeah, I'm torn because I think what we got was really good up until the finish. I did not like the finish. I like the restarting the match, like because the Hell's Gate is banned. Fine, I like that. I don't like the screw job finish. I don't like them recreating that. The the fans even reminded us earlier, in the the pre-match promo for DX, you screwed Brett, which I think that reference was fine. They're playing off it, they're having fun with it. That's fine. Recreating the whole thing in a title match, I think, is really dumb. Yeah, Teddy Long going back and coming out and just kind of having, a stare down kind of seemed weird. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think later following this, the Undertaker would sort of like play these mind games with Teddy Long, and I'm pretty sure he got the move was reinstated, and I think that's how he won at Hell in a Cell, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be completely misremembering, but yeah, I liked what we got. I don't like the finish, and I don't like the fact that it was like a 9-minute match. Your main events should be given some time, unless for some reason like there's a surprise, like a shock, like a Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar Goldberg. Nobody thought Goldberg was going to beat Brock Lesnar in 1 minute and 26 seconds. That's fine. You go into this match, you're expecting, and it's a submission match, so you want to give him some time. And it's like you gave him 9 minutes and a screw job finish. I think is a terrible way to end the pay-per-view, especially given the talent involved. Like, you could have given them. Well, I'll save it because I know you're about to say, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Which is really good to go. If you could change one thing, what would it be? I'll let you go first, but you're about to transition to that anyway.
And for me, it's a very easy booking decision. We're cutting, and there's actually two, but this is the one I wanted to highlight. We're cutting the Singapore cane match. Just get it out. And instead, we're going to give those 6 minutes plus, plus the entrances, plus all that. We're going to give that time to the main event. We're going to give them some time. We're going to let them work. And then you can do your finish, sure. But your main event needed more time.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, for me, the other thing I'd take out would be the Pat Patterson segment.
Take both of them out and give the main event that time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those ones like arguably, like if you're gonna do the screw job finish, which I'm still iffy about if they should have done it. I don't think it's the first time they've done a screw job type finish in Montreal to keep rehashing that.
I don't think so either.
But I would have not made CM Punk and taken the main event. I would have maybe put Legacy versus DX as the main event, and then send the fans home happy. And then because I think having it end on a screw job finish is not the way to go. But if you have it end on the submission counts anywhere match where it was a little bit better, then yeah. But overall, what would you give this pay-per-view out of 5 stars?
Yeah, this one's tough to rate because I think there's a lot of fine. I think we have a really good match in Legacy and DX. I think Cena and Orton is really good, but I think a lot of it's just fine. It's good. It's they're really solid matches. Then you put in the Screwjob finish, you put in that terrible Dolph Ziggler Pat Patterson segment, and I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but I'm at like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I also gave it a 3 out of 5. But I enjoyed it for the most part, but it's also one of those ones like some of the segments just really took it out of me as well. As I bring back the real.
Get that wheel ready.
Wheel is spinning to see what my next pay-per-view I'm going to be talking about is. And it's going to be Roadblock 2016, which might actually be the NXT Roadblock.
I think it's the first Roadblock. Yeah, it's Roadblock End of the Line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the final pay-per-view of 2016.
That's right. But so we're talking about Roadblock 2016 next, which by the looks of it, it's going to be an interesting pay-per-view because there is actually an NXT match on this as well, randomly. But yeah, so that'll be the next time. But Jacob, where can people find you online?
Yeah, if you happen to watch this live tomorrow night, we will be live on the Lonely Marks Wrestling podcast, talking some wrestling, and then tomorrow we're just gonna kind of take it easy. We're gonna have a game night. Each of us came up with a little game that we're gonna do with the other guys. If you're watching this on a replay, that's every Thursday over on the Lonely Marks. And I believe I will be joining you on Rankum this Sunday, talking Pixar movies. So it'll be interesting to see what makes that list this time.
Yeah, and so yeah, like on Sunday, Rankum will be doing Pixar movies. It's a readout from the earlier list we did back in the day, which I think we did in Honor of Incredibles 2 last time. So there's been a lot of Pixar movies released.
Oh wow,
since
yeah,
then.
It's like 7 years.
Which I vaguely remember it because Incredibles 2 made that list that day as well, which was surprising. But it should be fun to see what a different panel does and see what happens there. But you can also find me on Spear from the Past. Next week we're talking about Roadblock 2016. And I'll be here and there. I pop up on the movie here and there from time to time as well. I'll be on shortly later tonight actually before Matt Majo's on 28. So yeah, but until next time, that is the end of Spear from the Past for this week. And we'll see you next time.
Right on out. Busy week here in Saudi Arabia. He's had dinner with many princes and